we spent a fair amount of time as lifeguards dealing with, of course, emergency medical for anybody in the complex. So I know I've taken care of 3 or 4 heart attacks on the tennis courts, and we several times had to hot-footed with the big, bags and stuff like that, and respirators and all, to get onto the golf course to give the immediate assistance before the town would get there. And so we got into quite a lot. Did a few rescues, 4 or 5, a year, basically. Kids getting into trouble, mostly in the pool. So it was pretty interesting, to say the least.
At that time in the early 60s, the Longshore pool was salt water.
That's
do you
right.
remember?
Yes, I do. And I really liked it, actually. I like saltwater pools quite a lot. Interestingly enough, a relative of mine, one of my in-laws, is just installed a pool at his place up in Guilford, and it's a saltwater pool, and it's inland. And there seems to be a push going on now to saltwater pools. They're easier to control, easier to keep the pH right, keep everything working, and basically cheaper. I find it amusing somehow.
What are your memories of the operation? Do they have to flush it or drain it?
No, I mean, beginning of the year, obviously things were different, but for the most part, we didn't have very much that we had to do with it. Obviously, we had to check pH, and so 5 or 6 times a day we would check all of that and put chlorine in if we had to, or whatever it was that we were doing. But it wasn't, I don't remember anything horrible. I mean, it was emptied every year and cleaned out, and we would come in at the beginning of the year, and there would be, be this big mess with green algae at the bottom. We did do, at least one time, I remember we actually were in the pool when it was empty, scrubbing it. But that's the only time I remember really doing that.
Yeah. At that point, were there still diving boards?
Oh yes, it was a diving board. We did it. We used the diving board quite a lot. And as a water safety instructor, we used to teach senior life saving there, where actually I ended up teaching the man who became my mentor in the theater business. He was 36, I was 18. And it was kind of interesting. But one of the things we used to do every once in a while is run off-the-cuff drills for the lifeguards, and often it would be, one of the lifeguards would be diving or whatever, and it would just slap the board on the way down, and then crumple and go to the bottom and see if we could get a reaction and get somebody in there to pick it. When you let people know there's going to be a drill, you don't really get a drill. And so 2 things I thought were important were, one was to make the drill happen out of the blue so that there was a real reaction, and the other one, because we used to do adult swims every hour or so. We would do a 15-minute adult swim, and everybody had to be out of the pool except for people who wanted to do adults and or laps. And during that period of time, I insisted that there was a lifeguard swimming. I thought it was important that people see lifeguards as actually swimmers, as opposed to people who stood on the side and twirled, their whistles. And I got a lot of compliments for that, actually, because people recognized that we were proving to them that we could do it. And then it was also every day, everybody had to swim 2 miles just to stay in shape. And so, I mean, that's just our internal thing. So we would give it, today, this 15 minutes you're swimming, the next 15 minutes you're swimming. And it worked well. It worked well. There were a number of people that were there, like the Berniers and so on, that were really serious and good people, and there were a lot of swimmers. There were a couple of youngsters who were fractious, to say the least. I remember kicking Michael Douglas out of the pool once, and I heard this, do you know who I am? I said, yeah, I know. I don't give a damn. Get out. I'm going to report you to the town commission. I said, you just go ahead and do it. You were doing dangerous swimming. You're out of here. But for the most part, it was okay. And there was another young man who hung around quite a lot. He was quite, he was looking for attention, basically, and he would cause trouble. But we as lifeguards got really close to him, and we were able to tame him down a lot, which was kind of fascinating. One thing I remember at the time was how shocked we all were when we looked over to the cabanas and there was a young lady, a very good-looking lady, probably in her early 30s, who was wearing tight white pants and high heels, and that was like scandalous. Times have changed.